Kia ora and welcome back to Retail Unplugged, a series brought to you by Retail NZ. I'm Carolyn Young, Chief Executive at Retail NZ, and today I'm joined by Ian Woolford from the Reserve Bank of New Zealand. Te putea matua. Grab a coffee and take a few minutes to learn all about digital currency. Ian is the Director of Money and Cash for the Reserve Bank of New Zealand, and he's worked in a variety of roles with the Reserve Bank over the last 30 years. Ian started his career in the Economics Department and has had leadership roles in the financial markets, financial stability and prudential areas of Tuputea Matua. As Director of Money and Cash, Ian is responsible for money and cash operations functions such as banknotes and coin procurement, vaulting and distribution, as well as leading work here on central bank digital currency, private innovation and money, such as cryptocurrency and the cash system redesign. Now he's leading the exploration into digital cash, the central bank currency for New Zealand. Welcome, Ian.
Yura.
Look, really interesting topic to chat with you about today, understanding more about digital currency. I guess in the first instance, can you just explain to us, what is digital currency?
The digital currency will be another form of Reserve Bank money. At the moment, we have physical banknotes and coins, obviously fully backed by the government. Digital cash would be a Reserve Bank digital equivalent of cash. In some senses, similar to the digital balances you have in your bank, except there is a bit of a difference in that you're not taking a credit risk with the government, and it will give people choice in how they want to pay and save for things.
And so it doesn't replace cash then, right?
No, it definitely does not replace cash. We're doing a lot of work to make sure that the cash system remains available to people to use as long as they want it to. It will really just be an additional form of Reserve Bank money that's generally available to everyone.
So what's the demand? Why are we looking at digital currency now?
But there are a few reasons. Cash use is going down. People are increasingly, as your members will know, increasingly paying with EFTPOS or Apple Pay or other ways of paying. And that starts to raise some issues for us. It's important that there is a form of central bank money available, New Zealand central bank money available in New Zealand. We want to give people choice, as I've mentioned before. We also want to have a bit of an impact through digital cash on innovation and efficiency in the payment system. Our view is that we're not really seeing innovation, new types of products, smart contracts, generally available to people. And we actually think that it costs a little bit too much as well. So part of the idea here by issuing a digital cash is that it spurs innovation in the private sector. So you will have a wallet or an app or different ways of accessing this. It might be through your bank. It might be through some third-party provider. Could be a third-party provider with lower fees or a different product offering. And really, it's just giving consumers more choice in a form of money that they can trust, but also a form of money that protects their privacy.
And so how would this impact retailers? Like, how would it work? So if you've got an app or a wallet on your phone and you don't need a card or something like that. So how would it work, and how would retailers work with that sort of system?
So we're doing quite a lot of work in the background on what we call interoperability, like basically how does the funds get from one place to another place. We're consulting at the moment, not on that level of detail, but we will be doing a lot of work with retailers and others to make sure that it's an easy, cheap way of actually accessing and transferring the money. At the moment, what we're really focusing on through our consultation is what's the sort of functionality this money will have. How would you use it? So, for example, one of the things that we're talking about is having the ability for people-to-people payments, right? Yeah. Having the ability for when EFTPOS goes down or when the power's out or the Wi-Fi is out, so it can work offline. That's really what we're focused on at the moment. There'll be lots of chances when we get into that. What will it actually look and feel like at the retailer point of sale? That's something that we'll be very keen to engage the retail community on. But at this point, we're more focused on the why might this make sense and what might it look like from a user perspective. Where we think it might actually have a bit of an impact on retailers is a little bit like I mentioned before. We think that the New Zealand banking system, isn't as innovative and efficient as it could be. So there could be some real cost benefits. As we work with other third parties, that'll introduce competition, and hopefully that will have an impact on fees, for example. It'll be more of an instant form of settlement. It will make cross-border transactions seamless and cheaper. It can build in things like compliance, can help with things like identifying potential scams and those sorts of things. So there could be a number of ways in which retailers could benefit from something like this.
And look, we're all after innovation, right? And efficiencies, and especially cost efficiencies, would be really great, because it's a big issue for both retailers and consumers right now. So I understand the consultation is open between the 17th of April through to the 26th of July. How would, if somebody wanted to put forward a submission or provide feedback, how would they do that?
If you just jump onto our website, just rbnz.govt.nz/digital cash. I think when you go into our website, it's on the homepage. Click on the links. It's pretty easy. We've set up a lot of online quick surveys. So, we certainly welcome long form submissions, and you can write as long an essay as you want, and we'll definitely read them all. But the surveys themselves are pretty short, just a handful of questions, and pretty quick. And we're really keen to hear what people think about the idea.
Fantastic. So get on there and give your feedback. It'd be really valuable to do that, to help frame up what digital cash might look like in New Zealand in the future. You did mention earlier about the reduction in the use of cash in New Zealand. There is a trial, I think, that it's going to be underway shortly around cash in rural towns. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Sure. So what we understand from our research is that people really value the ability to use cash. And in some of the engagements we've had with retailers, what we hear is, they're mainly focused on making a sale. But what's happening is it's getting harder and harder to access and bank cash and make change. Now, part of that is a result of reducing banks' footprints. Around the country over the last 20 years or so, the number of bank branches and ATMs has dropped by a third in places, and up to a half in some other places. And that makes it harder for retailers. So what we're trying to do is we're going to be trialling about 8 or 9 towns around the country, probably in rural areas, around about 1,000 to 10,000 in population, and giving them some options. And these will be towns that are underbanked or have no bank. Mm-hmm. And we'll be putting in ATMs, smart ATMs, the ability to make change, to deposit money. And we're also, as part of this, be working with retailers to look at remunerating retailers for cash out. This is something that retailers would join into the scheme. And, at the moment, about a third of where people get their cash from is actually from retailers. But retailers bear a disproportionate cost of the cash system. By our estimates, up to about 3/4 of the cost of the cash system. And that comes from having to travel, outside of your town to another town, over-the-counter fees, just simply waiting in line, all of these things. So what we're trying to do is find a way to make it easier for retailers to accept cash, to be happy to accept cash, and to bank the cash as they need to. So we think by the end of the year, there'll be a number of towns up and running. And we're really looking forward to see if that makes a bit of a difference.
And that would be, the retailers would be at the heart of the community in that sense, then, wouldn't they? They would be one of those key components for that community in terms of cash requirements for a wide range of people, to ensure that should they wish to pay for cash or deposit cash or withdraw cash, they could do that.
Yeah, they'll play a pretty important role, as they do already, actually. And, part of this trial is to understand the economics of it and look at, what would be a reasonable fee for them to be paid for their services.
Fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing more, both about the digital cash developments and also the rural trial. Look, thanks, Ian, and thanks to everyone for taking a few minutes out of your day to join Ian and I. I hope you enjoyed your coffee break and found this episode useful. Special thanks, Ian, for joining us, and it's been a pleasure to speak with you and hear how the Reserve Bank of New Zealand Te Pūtea Matua is supporting the retail sector in New Zealand. For more information, just visit www.rbnz.govt.nz. And don't forget, the digital cash consultation is open from the 17th of April to the 26th of July 2024. Jump online and have your say. Special thanks to our Retail NZ partners whose support enables us to keep up to date with everything retail. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to Retail Unplugged on your preferred channel so you can keep up to date with all the current industry knowledge. That's all for now. Ka kite anō.